This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 8th year of talk like you've never heard it before.
I almost didn't sing. Hey, it's Alex, and it's the Ramble. We're here until midnight tonight. Yeah, it says after a couple of days off, I have to reset things, and I had to turn the volume up, and I had to turn the volume down, and I pushed the wrong button, and I brought it down, and then I didn't bring it up, and yeah, is you getting tired of this? I am. It's one thing after another. By the way, Jack will not be on tonight. He wasn't on the last two. He was on the last two nights, kind of. He had trouble with his computer. And then it finally wouldn't even reboot. So there will be no show tonight. And he was going to go buy a new one today, but he didn't because some guy said, well, I can come over and fix it for you. But the machine is 7 years old, and he probably should get a new one anyway. At least I would. Hell, I got a new one myself. Anyway. Hi, everybody. It's at that time of the week where we bring people in here. And in this case, it's we start off on our Wednesday programs with this gentleman who is visiting Hawaii now. Right, Phil?
I guess there's a volcano on the Big Island, and it's erupting after 40 years.
Yeah.
Isn't that where Renee lives?
I don't know. I haven't heard from Renee in such a long time. I don't know where she is.
Neither have I. Or anyone else, I don't think.
And I went one day. I spent some time trying to look for her. But didn't come close to finding her. So.
Well, she's a nice person. I wish her well.
Yeah. She, for some reason, stopped calling the program one day, and that was it. And then when I tried to find her on Facebook or places like that, I couldn't find her. So
she hasn't made a post in several years.
Yeah. So you begin to wonder when that happens,
And then there was the other guy, retired guy on the other side of the island.
Yeah, but he once in a great while he'll call. Okay, yeah. So I know he's okay, or at least I assume he's okay. I haven't heard from him.
Yeah, he hasn't called since that earlier eruption.
No, he's called.
Oh, he has?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, he called maybe a year ago. Oh. See, we're talking about people called a year ago, folks. How do you like that one?
Well, who's not going to be calling?
Who?
Christine McVie.
Well, no, she isn't. Of course not. She's.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I like Fleetwood Mac.
They haven't done anything in years, so why is her passing going to affect anything?
I don't listen to the new music. When I go to the gym in the morning and they're playing all that.
Well, you think if she's dead, you can't play her old music?
No, I said I like her music, and I
thought they were okay. I wasn't crazy about them, Yeah. I have to admit this, and please, folks, don't hold this against me. Well, you will, because everybody holds things against me. You know who I don't like? I mean, I don't say I don't like him. It's just his music has never appealed to me.
Are you going to say Kanye West?
No, that goes without saying.
I've never heard his music, ever.
If you want to call it music.
Yeah, I don't know what his stuff sounds like.
Listen, if you played me a bunch of songs, right? And you said, now which one is Kanye West? I would not be able to tell you. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, neither could I. I couldn't even tell you what clothes he designs or sneakers or.
Well, Yeezy.
I've never seen them.
Yeezy is the brand. Okay.
Yeah, but I've never gone into a store that carries that brand.
Yeah, but anyway, Yeezy. Yeah, Yeezy. They were shoes that looked like, I don't know, you were walking in waffles. I don't know. Forget about that. No. See, you take me off my stride here.
All right. So tell me
I'm
the
not going
song.
to I'm not going to tell you.
Well, so be a victim. Okay.
I'm not going to tell you. Screw
Yeah,
you.
you want to be a victim.
Screw you, you goddamn Republican. Screw you. If you think I'm going to just suddenly say, No,
Yeah.
you know whose music I've never gotten into?
No, tell me.
People are just they're going to go, what?
Yeah.
Bruce Springsteen.
I understand how you feel. Well, first of all, he's a lib. But beyond that,
That's the reason I like him.
Yeah,
Okay.
I went to a Bruce Springsteen concert at the Oakland Coliseum several years ago.
Yeah.
And the people were all singing along, and everybody knew the words, but I really don't know the words to Bruce Springsteen's songs, and I couldn't hear or understand one word that he was saying.
Bruce Springsteen's songs, he said?
Songs. Well, maybe he couldn't understand what I was saying either, but
anyway, he just for some reason I just don't. I've never thought he was that great. I always felt
born in the USA.
Well, I thought that a lot of stuff he did, he stole, and oddly enough, I'll tell you who he stole a lot from: Phil Spector.
Yeah.
The arrangements that he used in those early days and stuff, Phil Spector.
Well,
in fact, Phil Spector once got a hold of him and said, "If you want to do my music, why don't you do my music?" You know, I mean,
well, weren't there a lot of groups that were influenced by Phil Spector and the Wall of Sound and all of that stuff?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The Beach Boys were influenced by him, but they were also influenced by other people too. There was a group years ago. There was a jazz singing group called the Four Freshmen, and if you ever heard the Four Freshmen,
that wasn't the Letterman, right?
No, the Four Freshmen. You would absolutely say, "Hey, is that the Beach Boys?" Because they stole their harmonies. Brian Wilson admits it. Stole their harmonies from the Four Freshmen. Yeah.
Everything comes from something.
Well, I mean, look, you are the sum total of things that have influenced you. There are certain people in this business who, it's not that I stole from them, but I was influenced by them, and I took some of the best concepts that they had in San Francisco. Radio show host by the name of Don Sherwood.
Yeah.
Everything I Am is about 75% Don Sherwood.
Yeah. Who is the comedian? Now I'm having a brain fart, but very famous comedian from the 30s and 40s, Jack Benny. A lot of your radio persona, I think, is influenced by him.
Well, persona, yeah. The idea of Jack Benny had a persona of a character that really you shouldn't like. He's cheap. He's this. He's that. And there was another aspect of Benny that you probably never noticed when I was working, when I was doing a show. But Benny, I often said about Jack Benny, he wasn't a comedian.
Yeah, he was a straight man.
No.
Well, you had his timing.
No, but let me finish what I'm saying here, okay? Learn something. He wasn't a comedian. He was a clown.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the difference between a comedian and a clown? A comedian pulls jokes at the expense of people, okay? And a clown has the jokes pulled on him.
Yeah.
And Benny was always the butt of every joke, okay?
Yeah.
Either had to do with his cheapness or his vainness or whatever. And I like that. That just so influenced me that I made my whole character on radio, and people would come on. Half the show was putting me down.
Yeah. Well, you had a certain timing also.
Well, no, I got that timing from Benny.
Yeah.
Because Benny had the best timing of any comedian, clown that ever lived. I mean, he knew exactly how much to breathe, how much to just pause before he went for the next line or for the punchline, I mean, the famous one is he's being robbed Then the guy says, your money or your life. And there's this big, long pause. And he knew exactly how long to take that pause.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine a pause on radio, folks. A pause on
Dead air.
radio, right?
Yeah.
And then he said, I'm thinking it over. And
Still funny to this day.
still funny to this day, the biggest laugh any joke ever got on radio.
Yeah.
The laugh lasted with the audience about 45 seconds, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, he was great. His timing was great. Benny influenced me a lot. Yeah, I will have to say that.
Was that influence something that you took on once you got to San Francisco, or did you use
no.
in previous?
Always.
Always?
More so when I was in San Francisco, only because I was working with comedians by that time.
Yeah.
And so therefore, with working with comedians, I had to be a kind of straight man, but I had to have my own persona.
Mm-hmm.
So, there were a lot of jokes people would pull on me.
Yeah.
It was many times at my expense. I couldn't do it continually like Benny did, because Benny only had to do a half hour a week. I had to do 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. So I had to parcel that out a little bit, But I mean, I loved Benny. I grew up listening to Benny when I was a kid. He was my favorite person on radio. I liked him, and I liked Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy, because kids would like that.
The puppet,
The ventriloquist and his dummy.
Yeah.
I never, there's a joke in a Woody Allen movie called Radio Days, which is one of my favorite Woody Allen films because it's about radio. And it's about the love of radio. And there's a thing where they're listening to a ventriloquist on the radio, and the kid says, how do they know his lips aren't moving? And that's what I always thought when I was a kid. Hey, he's a ventriloquist? Yeah, but his lips aren't moving.
Yeah.
Are they? Well, how do you know his lips aren't moving? It's radio. I never could figure out, I guess when he did the show, because it was in front of a live audience, he actually had the dummy there, but he really didn't have to have the dummy there for the radio audience,
Yeah. Yeah. He could have just done his thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to move on but I just read that there's a new thing that VIP is no longer the most exclusive position you can have. Now it's VVIP, a very, very important person.
Really? Where'd you hear that?
Are you going to change your shtick to I used to be a VVIP?
No.
All right. Let's see what else. Oh, Elon Musk.
Oh, God.
He just sent out an email. He wants people to come closer to him. So he has a floor now at Twitter, and he wants people to sit on the floor instead of using chairs. So there's no more chairs at Twitter. He's getting rid of the chairs.
I think we have a guy here who has slowly lost his mind.
I don't know.
Huh?
I think what he's doing is great, and
I think
different enough.
I think it's wasting his bandwidth. It's wasting what he does best. He should have taken Twitter, said, "Here's what I want Twitter to be," and then just left and had somebody else run it.
Do you think anyone could have done the things with the panache that he does?
What? The panache?
Whip it around?
Oh, you mean to lose 50% of your advertisers?
Well, he's making an effort to bring those advertisers back, and there's really no reason. That those advertisers.
Oh no, there's definitely a reason that came out today. He's going to start allowing people who don't believe in the COVID vaccines to have a voice on Twitter. There are a whole bunch of things, and in Europe. Many European countries have said they're going to stop carrying Twitter.
There are a lot of people that don't believe in the COVID vaccine.
Well,
just because, people have a different opinion. I mean, it's up to them whether they want to.
Well, it depends on how they actuate that. If they do it in a way that makes people not take it, okay, then it's questionable.
But you have your own.
All I'm saying is
destiny.
that
You can choose.
He is. I swear to you, I'll bet you any amount of money you got, Twitter will be out of business by the end of next year.
Well, I'll bet you this Bitcoin.
Yeah, right.
Talking about Bitcoin, I guess there are more Bitcoin type companies that are taking it on the chin. And I have a feeling that Bitcoin itself has still got some value. But when I heard the interview with Bankman Fried, or whatever his name is, the guy who was hanging out, who just went bankrupt
and is about to be arrested. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. He said what he did was he developed a box, and this box was empty. And then he had another company that bought stuff or said they had something. They put it in the box and they sold it back and forth to one another and said, and they increased the value of what was in the box, sort of marketing. And people saw the rise in value and they got greedy and they started buying in. And then when the house of cards fell, a lot of people lost their money, millions and millions, or actually, millions of dollars that other people invested, including some high-profile celebrities. Wasn't one of the guys on Shark Tank? What's his name? It wasn't Mark Cuban, was it?
I don't know. I don't know any of those people that we're investing in.
Yeah, it was either Mark Cuban or who's the bald guy on Shark Tank? Kevin?
I don't think Kevin would have done that. Kevin O'Leary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
one of those two.
I don't think he would have invested in
who was the one that did the commercial for crypto?
Well, quite a few people.
No, this was, I think you had mentioned it. It was on the...
Larry David did a commercial.
Oh, it was Larry David on the
for the company this guy had.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did it for the Super Bowl, I think.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it looks like that house of cards is falling. As long as we're rambling, where I buy my camera equipment in San Francisco, I buy at Camera West. And Saturday, there was a smash and grab. It's a Leica boutique, and they sell Nikon and Canon. And some guys, 3-4 guys went in with guns, smashed all the cabinets, and within 3 minutes took $180,000 worth of Leica cameras. That was 2 cameras.
That was two cameras. Yeah, right. Yeah, 2 cameras. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So amazing. They did $20,000 or $30,000 worth of damage to the cabinets. That hold these.
That's insured, so that's taken care of.
Yeah, but it's just and
the cameras, for that matter, are insured as well. I mean, if you're robbed and they disappear, some insurance company's going to pay for that, and I don't feel sorry for the insurance companies. Okay.
No, it's just that. Can you imagine the trauma of working in one of these places, and you're sitting there talking to some guy about f-stops and shutter speed, and look at the LED screen, and then all of a sudden the guy comes in, 3-4 guys with guns, smash the whole place up, grab everything.
No, they didn't grab everything. They only grabbed, you said, 100 and what?
80,000.
80,000 worth of cameras. 180.
Yeah, 180.
That's not a lot. I mean, how many cameras could they carry out with them?
Well, average Leica cameras between 6 and 20,000.
Yeah, but also how much do they weigh?
Not much. 2 pounds.
But I mean, how many can you take? How many can you take? Could you take 10 of them?
At least, yeah. Well, if you got 4 guys and each guy took 3 or 4, maybe they had some duffel bags or something.
They must have taken expensive cameras.
Oh yeah, Leicas aren't cheap.
Yeah.
They're.
It's not that they cost Leica anything to make them. It's just that they're not cheap.
No.
Or let's put it this way: they're overpriced. Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you're a dentist or a doctor, you get a Leica, and if you're like me, you get a Nikon.
Yeah. But
I got camera equipment. I got my new screen. So it's a little bit smaller than the old one, but it's actually freed up a lot of desk space. And
Everybody's interested in that, Phil.
yeah,
Yeah, they were sitting around writing me saying, "When is Phil getting his new
screen?"
New screen, yeah.
Okay, well, I guess they're having more layoffs at CNN, and MacBook Pros are being discounted. MacBook Pros. That's
Yeah, but that's the lowest end.
It is.
Yeah, I think that's the lowest end. Maybe it's the Air, but one of them they have lowered the price on it this time of the year. But the fact is that if I were them, I wouldn't lower the price on them because where are they going to make them?
Right.
You know,
well,
I mean, in China they've got a problem. They've got a problem at the Foxconn factory.
Yeah.
And if you want to lay your hands on a iPhone, you better do it right now because they may not be around.
Yeah, they can't get the chips and things like that.
No, it's not that they can't get the chips. They can't,
they can't
get the people to make them. And by the way, you were wrong about something the other day because you said, "Oh, did you hear about the people protesting at Foxconn?"
Yeah.
And you gave as a reason, I can't remember, what was it? What was your
working conditions?
Working conditions. It has nothing to do with working conditions.
What was it?
It had to do with the COVID lockdowns and the stringent rules that they had to go with for which is now affecting the whole country. But Foxconn, the demonstrations were against that. They were against, So.
Yeah, well, I guess people are demonstrating all over the world. What's happening in China is they're standing up to Xi, and I don't think that it's going all that well for those protesters, but it's also not going all that well for protesters in Iran and the soccer team. They say that if the soccer team in an effort to support the what was going on in the protests in Iran, refused to sing the anthem. Then the Iranian government said, if next opportunity to sing the anthem, you don't sing the anthem, we're going to kill your relatives. And
how do you know they said that?
It was on the news.
How did the word get out that they were told that their relatives would be killed?
I don't remember where I heard it, but
no, you see, I mean,
they threatened their families.
You're probably listening to Fox.
Of course I'm listening to Fox.
Even if that were true, you wouldn't be able to find out. Okay, that would be held close to the vest.
I guess there were threats, and so the next time
I was worried about it just because they lost.
Somebody also said that because they lost, the government was unhappy with them, and they lost to the United States.
Yeah,
which
is even more embarrassing,
right?
But I mean, Phil, just don't believe those things. They're not necessarily.
You believe the other stuff.
They're not necessarily true. Well, you believe all kinds of crap.
Well, yeah,
I mean, how do you feel about Trump having Kanye over to dinner?
Well,
here you go. You're going to go with the excuse.
Story?
You're going to go with. I know what he said.
Did you hear the whole story?
I know what his side of the story is.
Right,
and that was after the fact when he tried to prevent people from yelling and screaming at him.
Well, look, that dinner was set up long before the Black Jew thing.
Really? Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, so you don't even really know the real story, and you're coming out with this.
I'm giving you the story.
No, the story that Trump said was he didn't invite Kanye over to dinner. He just showed up at his front door.
That's correct. But the guy he showed up with, another anti-Semite, Trump didn't even know who he was.
Didn't know who he was.
Right.
Don't you think that he knows everybody that walks in the doors of that place? Because he still has Secret Service protection. Mm-hmm. And don't you think they told him who this guy was?
Didn't Kanye West also say on an interview show that was true?
What was true?
Trump didn't know who the other guy was.
Well, I never heard of him either, but
Yeah. And so,
but you see, I would never let Kanye show up at my front door.
Well, Maybe he didn't want to cause a stink.
What do you mean he didn't want to cause a stink? You're aware of what Kanye has been saying recently, and you say, if they say, hey, Kanye West is down here, he wants to come up and see you, you say, turn him away, I don't want him coming in.
No, that would have been a smarter decision.
Well, a smarter decision from a very stupid guy.
Well, he's no longer the president, and he's citizen Trump now, and he made an error. I think Trump likes celebrities. I think that because
celebrities, they have to have two conditions. They have to be a celebrity, and they have to kiss his ass.
Well, Kanye did kiss his ass at the White House, and maybe he just didn't want to create an adverse, a bad environment and have an issue.
But would you say that Kanye's career is over with?
I would say that it's been damaged, possibly beyond repair.
Yeah, and
he has problems.
I'll tell you, Elon Musk has lost me, completely lost me, because he's gone crazy with this thing.
I don't think so. He's giving a voice to people that were disenfranchised.
No. He's not giving a voice to anybody, Phil. What he's doing is he's taken a business that was making a certain amount of money, cut down the it was not losing money. It was making a minor profit.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as
wasn't. I don't know where you heard it was
about
losing
the bots.
But he claims with the bots that they overestimated how many people use the service. Okay.
Yeah.
But the advertisers, 50% of his advertisers dropped immediately. Gone. They're gone, and they're not coming back.
Well, we'll see. I know Paramount Plus dropped them because I was told I was at lunch with my daughter and
dropped who?
Twitter advertising.
Oh, they were. Paramount Plus. Yeah, but that's one company.
Well, that's the one my daughter works for now, and she that's what she told me.
Yeah, and why did they do it?
I'm probably pressure from the woke executives that run Hollywood, those Jews.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm sick and tired of using as an excuse for everything woke.
Maybe it's true.
Am I woke? Am I woke? Am I woke?
The left.
Am I woke?
Attacks,
am I woke?
Yes, the left attacks anybody that it slightly goes away from their type of thinking. Look at what they're doing to Tulsi Gabbard. As long as she was in lockstep with the Democrats, she was a star. As soon as she said, "Hey, look, I'm exposing what's going on in Washington," and the
Republicans aren't the same way.
What do you mean?
If you don't go in lockstep with the Republicans, you're out.
Absolutely, they're all the same. I don't know where to go for the truth anymore.
Are you here to say
maybe Twitter is going to be the last bastion of truth?
Twitter's going to be the last bastion of truth. It never was a bastion of truth.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. One other thing, I read a thing about hate crimes, and it seems that 60% of the hate crimes that are perpetrated against the Jews, and there's only 2.5% of the population that are Jews.
Maybe Twitter is going to be the last bastion of truth.
Okay. It was such a good statement, it got repeated.
Yeah, I can't understand why you're worried about anti-Semitism, and then you don't mind Kanye West having dinner with Donald Trump. It makes no sense, Phil. There's no consistency there. Oh,
you're never going to change Kanye West's mind by pushing him in the corner. You're only going to change it by being positive and doing the right thing.
Good boy, good boy. Listen to me. Just calm down. Nice fella.
Okay.
Nice fella.
Be a victim. Be a victim.
Yeah. Go ahead. Call me a kike. I don't care. Yes, yes, Alan.
First of all, good evening. So there's three types of news people can get on this show. They can get in descending order of truth. Mm-hmm. You can go to CNN and get the most truth. Then you can go to Fox News and get less truth, or you can listen to Phil Meyer and get no truth. So the store that was broke into, there's videotape surveillance. One guy had a gun, not a bunch of guys rushing in the store with guns. One guy had a gun.
Big deal.
Yeah, well,
Alan,
you being a gun guy, you should know that.
Who cares? It was an armed robbery, and those people were complicit. The other people that were there, when there's an armed robbery and one guy kills somebody, then all the people are up for murder charges. When one guy goes in with a gun and the other ones, it's an armed robbery. They're all complicit.
And
you know that.
Yeah. What's your point, though?
My point is, you're
they don't know where they're at yet, so they've got to find them to arrest them in order to charge them.
Well, how many cameras did you buy?
None. I'm not that stupid, so.
And I didn't overpay for it. I didn't overpay for a monitor either. Yes, Charlie.
I just want to go back to what they're talking about, what y'all are talking about with Elon Musk. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't believe in gravity, but if somebody had a website that allowed people to post false information about gravity that was convincing people that it was okay to jump off the top of skyscrapers, I wouldn't want to advertise on that place either.
See?
I think you read about that on Trump's Twitter site, right?
Actually, I haven't ever gone on Truth Social.
Really?
Really?
I thought you'd have that.
Neither has anybody else.
But I don't go on Twitter either. And although I probably will, just to support Elon Musk and what he's doing, because I think that he's a pretty stand-up guy.
You like the fact that he is going to allow anti-Semitic rants to go on Twitter?
I don't think he's going to do that.
Oh, yes, he says he already has.
Well, they just have to get a handle on.
No, he has already said that he would allow that sort of thing.
Well, then.
I mean, what's the difference? Anti-Semitic or Trump? What's the difference?
There's a big difference. You know, I think that he wants the platform to be free speech, and it's going to.
No, it's not free speech. He's taking people off of it.
Yeah, say something bad about Elon. See how long you stay on.
He even dumps his ex-girlfriend's. Amber Heard's account was removed.
She owes him money.
He's out. She's probably going to talk bad about him.
What do you mean? She had one of his kids.
Really? Yeah. Oh my God.
Yes.
Why did she give it back?
Anyway, hello Tony. How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm hanging in there.
You know, you're going to have to get rid of that mirror or change your back because people are going to have to make up a new background.
Oh, you know what it is? Hold on, I'll move the computer back over there.
No. Oh.
You don't have to do it now. Just do it later.
I'll do it later. Okay.
You know, Tony doesn't know where he is. They irradiated him.
Yeah, I'm getting radiated.
Wow.
Yeah, on Monday.
I started Monday. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you already got hit with the radiation.
No. I made friends in the room, Alex, in the office there.
Yeah, isn't that fun? Isn't that fun though? Just lying there as that thing kind of goes around and.
Yeah, you know, I kind of closed my. First, they put me down. I was a little nervous.
They put you down. They wanted to put you to sleep.
No, I wanted to lay down, so they put my feet in the thing. So the lady goes, "Do you want to hear any music?" I said, "Well, they had Pandora." I said, "Yeah, put on Dylan or something." So she put it on like Pandora. So I'm fine. So I didn't know what to expect. So I was laying down, right, and I see the machine coming up. I said, I kind of took a peek, and then I kind of just closed my eyes and just vegged out for like the 8 minutes. It's weird, like really.
You know, it's funny. What's funny? I really think you should have gone and to see if you could get the one that I had, which is the laser knife.
5 sessions.
Oh, where you did 5 things?
five sessions, and you're in there for about, I would say, 45 minutes, and most of it is them just setting the thing up and getting right and so on. And then when they finally do it, it's like, takes
really
2
mind
minutes.
it. I mean, yeah,
I liked the little thing as it would come by every time. It had this little red light, and I would say, "Hi, how you doing, pal?"
I was like, I asked the doctor because the lady was working it. It is so high tech. So she's like, Tony, you're done.
No, that one's but that one's not high tech. High tech is the one that you can do in.
Oh, I mean, like it's really gonna.
In 5.
But I mean, it's so
sessions.
precise. Like you don't even. Did you feel tired, Alex, at all? I felt a little tired last night, but I think it was because of the weather.
No, I didn't feel tired from it.
I feel fine now, really.
I'm trying to remember. Did I have any effects from it? Not really. But do you go in every day?
Yeah, every day.
Every day. See, I went in every other day for a week and a half.
Alex, did you lose your hair?
I was like, I laid down. Phil, he says, you can go home now. I said, I'm done? Listen to 2 songs. I said, you can go.
Yeah, can they demonetize this? Because I'm not saying anything.
Only if you put it up your nose.
I can't believe I'm living vicariously now. Whatever Phil got and I got. This is great. I'm actually enjoying it now, really. My sister's bringing me
That makes
food
me
over.
feel
I'm
guilty
gonna
about
go home.
even having it at all.
The show gives us cancer.
I blame Phil. Wait till I come out there and visit. I want McDonald's for nothing.
Hey, I had an MRI on Monday.
Oh, what's
I
going on?
left out from this medical
You can't
thing.
get me to do an MRI.
I didn't like that.
Well, mine was on my knee,
Yeah.
and my head was not in the machine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not that bad then.
Yeah, it was loud.
Yes. It was, Phil, did you feel cold? Was it knocking any air out of you, like underneath your
Well,
legs?
not really.
All those X-rays and so on. The rooms are pretty cold.
Yeah, you're right.
They're pretty
Why is
cold.
that?
Yeah, I don't know.
The equipment gets hot.
Is that it?
Yeah, they have to keep. Yeah, they don't want the equipment to overheat.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I thought it was to make my nipples hard, but
I
I had that problem when I was having sex. My equipment overheating.
Yeah, I have a torn.
But I think it
meniscus.
was caused by friction.
Yeah, I have a torn meniscus. That's why my knee hurts.
Oh, I had a torn
I had one of
meniscus.
those.
Hey, don't be a wuss. You have a torn meniscus. I learned that what you do is you just don't use that knee like you did to get that, and eventually it goes away. Mine's gone away completely.
I'm not sure. It's hard to understand the analysis. They're going to call me, but I think it's totally torn, and
A totally torn meniscus.
How did you do
Wow.
that, you think?
well,
You got to be a Republican,
it
Tony.
may have exacerbated because of the CrossFit.
Oh,
think
Phil, you
I'm
might be
going-
pushing yourself.
Oh,
like
let's
There you
see
go.
here. Let's see here. I'm exercising so I can be healthier, and then you tear your meniscus. Okay, good going,
That's an
Phil.
intense work.
There's proof that exercise is bad for you.
Yeah,
That's
really.
an intense work.
Well, you use weights, and I'm pretty strong in my upper body, so I'm pushing some heavier weights, and I'm doing squats with them, and what are they, jerks, which is
Good. Go ahead. Tear the meniscus even more.
Yeah. Well,
You bet.
I bought this thing that goes over your knee called a Go Sleeve. And it's like taping your knee up to hold it in position, but it's a sleeve that just fits over it. And it gives a lot more support. And since I started wearing that, it doesn't hurt as much.
Did they give you a crutch
No, well, they haven't
or a
talked to me
cane?
yet.
I'm being serious.
He's the only guy who'll go with the
Well,
CrossFit and come out of
I actually went to what do you call it? Physical therapy for
So
my
did I.
for my torn meniscus.
So did I.
I was on crutches for 3 weeks.
Really?
I had a cane for 2 months.
Well, what
I
happened
don't
was
know if
no
there's going to be a
surgery.
surgery or not.
No, you don't. You
no.
probably don't have to have it. What happened was I was sitting on the floor doing something, and then I got up on my knee, and all of a sudden, it hurt like hell. And then it kept hurting and kept hurting and kept hurting. I went to my doctor, my leg doctor, And he took an X-ray. He says, torn meniscus. He says, go do some physical therapy. You know?
Hurt like hell. That's like when you stub your toe.
Yeah, but then
when I tore my meniscus, I was almost in tears.
Well, I was just very careful for about a year not to, like, what happened, every night when I would get into bed, I would get into bed by putting that knee on the bed first. I had to teach myself to put the other knee on the bed first. Otherwise, I could throw it out again. Eventually, after a year and a half, my meniscus was fine.
Yep.
You know, so.
Well, I had pieces all in my knee, so they had to go in and at least take the pieces out.
No.
Orthoscopic surgery.
Yeah, you don't want surgery, Phil. If you can avoid surgery for a torn meniscus, you don't want it, because most people that have surgery need knee replacement shortly after.
Yeah.
So that's why they're not big into surgery with meniscus.
Hello to Ray, by the way.
Hello.
Yeah, there he is. Don't put your background up for Tony, because you see he's changed it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too
Yeah, he's
bad.
trying to fake us out.
Yeah.
Hey, Phil, I had meniscus
But wait a minute, you
surgery.
have a watermark on that picture.
Oh, let me put a different one.
Stolen from Adobe.
He went and stole it from somewhere, and it had like the,
Yeah,
It
it
looks
does.
like the Adobe symbol.
Actually, I do have the real one. I just put the wrong one. Oh no. Shit. I just go with the default there.
Yeah. Notice the wallpaper.
Yeah,
folks,
just put up Tony's thing.
Phil's gonna have to do it now too.
Yeah. So anyway, so what did y'all do for Thanksgiving? What'd you do, Phil?
I went to a friend's house on the way to a restaurant. So I had some, Thanksgiving traditional stuff. And then I went to the Dead Fish Company in Crockett. And let me tell you something. This was such an awful meal. I sent it back twice. And then I just said, give me the check and I'm leaving.
You had fish, Terry.
Yeah, I ordered crab. And it's $100 for.
Why order it when you are one already?
Yeah.
That's crabby.
enough.
There's a difference between crab and crabby.
No, crab and crab-like.
Yeah, crab-like. Well,
Crab-ish.
My
Anyway.
birthday is June 24th, and I am a Cancer, so that's the crab. Anyway, we get there. I don't know if you want to hear the whole story, but they said, "Oh well, our
Sure, I got a lot of time to waste here. So
Okay.
just, go
their
ahead.
reservation system went down." All right, I understand. They said we're behind 45 minutes. Okay, I understand. So
Why did you go to this place in the first place? Did you actually have it recommended by somebody, or you
I've
just?
been there twice before,
Oh,
and it
okay.
was wonderful. It was wonderful.
And this time it wasn't.
Yeah. Oh, this time it was the worst.
Well, you know what happens? You ever notice that sometimes you have a restaurant you really like, and you go to it you go to it all the time, and all of a sudden one day you go in and it suddenly is terrible, and you figure, yeah, I'll give it one more chance, and you go back and you realize it became terrible.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go back.
I told you to go to Ray's Crab Shack.
Yeah. Well, I like Ray's Crab Shack.
Did you say it was called the Dead Fish Company?
Yeah, in Crockett.
Yeah.
Well, no wonder it sucks.
As opposed to the Live Fish Company.
Having a name like Dead Fish Company, you better be good, otherwise you'll never get any business.
That's like Alex's old joke of the live nude girls.
Yeah, they used to have. Yeah, you used to have posters outside of these saloons
Sex
that
places
said
on Broadway.
live nude women, and I'm going, well, can you point me to a place where I can go see dead nude women?
My friend Duke had a place, $1, talk to a nude girl.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Except for Phil was in the box.
Actually, I put the floors in.
I had a girlfriend that worked in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The one on Columbus or Tiffany's? He also owned Tiffany's massage parlor.
This was the one on this was
$1.
$1
Yeah.
talk to a naked woman, and the thing goes up and you talk. I think they raised it to $2 because women.
And you put in the Susan B. Anthony's, and it had a stage that I carpeted. that went around, and it had these windows. You put the Susan B. Anthony in dollar.
They'd rub themselves against the windows and all that, you know.
I was never there when there were people in there.
Imagine you put the money in, you see him doing the right.
I'm telling you, Phil was laying carpet and people putting coins in, and they saw him instead.
Whoa. I want my money back.
I knew how to trip the thing without putting the money in.
She just liked working there because all she had to do was take her clothes off and just talk to
Do you
people.
think they made a lot of money, those places, Alex? They bought them, right?
Well, at $1.
I mean, I was going to ask you, how
really
did they pay the rent with $1 going in?
I would say
The rent wasn't that high then.
the rents weren't that high.
No.
No.
You never been to one of those places, Tony?
The closest I came was when I was dropping off hats.
Closest
by
you
42nd
came?
Street.
You mean you've never come before?
Meaning, like, we dropped off hats by Arnie's place, which is around the corner from 42nd. And this is back in the day. He had two stores, the guy. One on 42nd and one around the corner. And he was always, like, in that area where you say where it was the peep shows. And I used to always say when dropping off, when we used to have to go around 42nd, he used to always tell me, the old guy, "Oh, you dropping hats
Well,
off?"
I went to those peep
Keep your
shows.
wallet in your front pocket. He said they'll cut it out with a knife if it's in the back pocket. He said.
Yeah, well, I went to those peep shows.
You did that?
Well, in those days, you didn't have videotape. You know, you didn't have. You couldn't. You know,
8mm.
This is one place you could see hardcore sex, and you were also in the privacy of a booth. So if you wanted to, beat off, you could.
Was that Midnight Blue Days?
And believe it or not, I knew a guy whose job it was to clean the booths.
Oh.
They have a name.
And he had the term they had for him for the job was scum dubbers.
Yeah.
My
Do they have
God.
a union? Are they in a union?
Imagine going
sure.
like,
Did you do a Midnight Blue
Yeah,
thing?
they
on
want
those guys?
and they want sick days pay too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get an hour lunch? Imagine what is the prime
Get an hour lunch.
Oh, don't even
No,
get
I
me
got a new
started.
job. You get the end.
I don't know if I had that job if I'd want to take an hour lunch or even eat lunch ever again.
You think they wash their hands?
That's how you become a fluffer.
Oh, those
You
places,
start as
the
a
most
scum dubber.
permeating smell in those places was the smell of Lysol.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he's looking at him like, who goes?
I had one right near
Well,
my
now
house.
you know who goes in
No,
there.
I know. I'll
Yeah.
let you go on it. She's dead.
So-
Oh my God.
so
She would
Phil,
have had
tell
Well,
family
a couple
friend.
people to go there.
Ray had one
He
in
must have been
near his
money.
house. Did
I
they
did
have a
in
lot of
Santa
those
Clara.
in Palo Alto?
I had one when I lived in Santa Clara. There was one right on El Camino around the corner.
Yeah.
Huge one. Huge. There was
How
like
much
10
did you
booths in
spend?
there.
How much did you spend a day in there?
I never went in the booths.
Yeah, see, today I don't.
I was scared. I was like that. I mean, it just scared the shit out of me.
Did you go into the VIP lounge?
They didn't have any girls there.
You
It
know,
was
I
just
often wonder
magazines
is
and
how they made
lotion.
money. Today, how they make money with the porn business.
I don't know.
When Duke had $1 talk to a nude girl, there were these mafia type guys that put the 8mm booths
Really?
in, and they would get the money from the 50%, I think, from the 8mm booths. You know, they came in and they big,
I always thought they were fronts for doing other things. Like I always wondered.
No.
Like, no.
Maybe.
and Duke didn't allow any prostitution.
No, but maybe like drugs or something in the back or something. Maybe they were laundering.
To show you what my life was like here in New York.
Yeah, I would have loved. I mean, you could have probably told me.
I went into one of these peep shows once, and I went in. I put a quarter in,
Yeah.
and the woman who was having sex in the film
literally
was a woman
Hi, Alex.
was a woman I had been dating.
Oh, Jesus.
Some of those films are pretty old.
Wait a minute.
You know
wait a minute.
right away?
So yeah. So then I
It
decided
was a silent movie.
that's enough for me. I don't I don't want to see this.
How did you feel? Did you feel like, oh my God?
Well, no, I kind of felt like I had a friend who was a porn actress. What was her name again?
Annie Sprinkles.
Well, Annie Sprinkle is one of them, but I could never watch. For instance, I'll give you a good example. Annie Sprinkle, I could never watch her porn films because I know her. Okay,
Yeah.
and I
You know
kind of
Marilyn Chambers?
feel that when you know somebody and they're in a porn film, you don't want to watch the porn film because it's kind of like you walked into the room while they were screwing. you know, and oops, I'll be back later, you know.
Well, how did that work for you with Midnight Blue? And well, I know that was
that's one of the reasons why
hardcore.
So then I went into another booth, and there was another woman I was going out with.
Oh my
and that
god!
booth was 50 cents.
But yeah.
Well, you got to find better places to pick up
You
women.
go see a regular movie.
Better women.
You know, it's a funny story I have. My mother came to visit me one time.
And you took her to a booth?
No,
Oh Jesus!
I don't think you go that crazy.
don't talk about my mother that way. I mean, she's dead. It doesn't matter. Anyway,
Mine too. She's probably talking to. This is the guy you listen to.
anyway, so my mother's visiting me, right? And so I figured she's visiting, but I'm not going to change my lifestyle. You know, I had a couple of girlfriends, and I'm going to have them come over. And she's all the way down in the living room. I'm all the way back in the bedroom. She's not going to hear what's going on, but I got to go on with my life. I'm not going to be celibate for the 4 weeks that she's there, right? So finally, at the end of the time that she's there and she's getting ready to leave, we're sitting down, we're talking. She says, you know, I don't like that one girl you're seeing, and she named the person. And I said, oh, well, too bad. You know, I said, she's very accomplished. I said, she's a graphic artist. She does, what do you call it? Where they spray the paint on.
Graffiti?
Graffiti artist?
No, it's called, well, anyway, she did book covers and things like that. And I said, you didn't like her, huh? I said, any of my girlfriends you like? And she says, yeah, I really like that Rhoda. She was really nice. I liked her. You know, you should see more of her. And I went, you know what she does for a living, Mom? She said, what? I said, she's a porn actress. After I took her tongue out of her throat, you know, I had put a stick in her mouth from then on. I mean, my mother was a bad judge of character, you know. In fact, the one she didn't like, her aunt and uncle wrote The Way We Were.
Holy shit, my mother loved that movie.
Alan and Marilyn Bergman. Yeah.
Really?
And she got very sick, and I went out to her house out in Long Island to visit her. And she said, I want to show you something. I said, okay. She said, this is a letter my father wrote to my mother asking her to marry him. And they kept it, right? And I look at it and I read it, and he starts the letter off by writing, what are you doing the rest of your life?
That's the movie.
Yeah.
And I said, my God, that's one of the Bergman songs. I said, yeah, that's where they got it. You know,
That's pretty ingenious.
yeah.
Were you friends with Nina Hartley? Did you know her?
I knew Nina Hartley. I wasn't close to Nina Hartley, but I knew Nina Hartley. Yeah.
She lived in Berkeley, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe she still does. I don't know.
Yeah. You had a lot of porn people living in the Bay Area.
Yeah, who was that other one, too? She went to Cal. I think you knew her. I can't remember her name.
Yeah. Yes, Alan.
So my friend picks up this actress or whatever, brings her back to the house. His mother lives there. His mother's deaf, can't hear. So he says, Mom, we're gonna, gives her a sign, we're gonna be in a room with the girl, and we go in there. We're both about 17 or 18, 16, or something like that. We go in, and I realize that there's no towels in the room. So I go out to get a towel. I put my shorts back on because I know his mother's gonna be there. His mother has a stethoscope in her ears and has got the thing up against the wall, listening to everything that's going on.
Could have used the glass.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, I remember
I
who
do.
it was. Christy Canyon.
We got cameras nowadays.
Oh, Christy Canyon. Yeah.
Yeah, you interviewed her a couple times.
Yeah, I knew her too. We
Yeah.
went out and had lunch on occasion and so on.
She seemed pretty cool.
She was cool. I mean, just
She
because
lived around the Bay
just
Area.
because people were in porn films didn't mean they weren't decent people.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I mean, I didn't go out with them because they were in porn. I went out with them because I knew them as a matter of my, when I was doing Midnight Blue in New York. Those were the people. You always date the people that come into your sphere of living. And so where I worked, you know, some of these people came, so I dated some of them. Not, you know, I also dated.
Do they actually come when they're doing porn, or is that an act?
Oh, Phil.
Only with you,
It was
Phil.
an act when you were in the room.
I, you know, it's strange. I couldn't answer that question for you. I don't know, you know. All I knew was real with me, you know.
You thought?
No, I mean, because I can tell a faked orgasm.
Yeah.
Like I fake an orgasm.
Yeah.
I use mayonnaise.
Oh, gross.
Cool. I use Cool Whip.
You use
know.
Cool
You know, the guy that used to clean the booth, he used to complain about the mayonnaise on the floor.
Yeah. So anyway, it's you know, I wonder if this
Buttercream frosting tastes better.
I don't think they're going to demonetize this show because we haven't used a single 4-letter word.
Yeah.
You know. So, but anyway,
How about work? Work.
So what? Let's see. I talked to you the other day, Jeff. You said that you had your scallops.
Oh man, it sounded good.
You're take your mic off mute.
I had my wife driving me crazy. She was listening to your show a little bit. She goes, "This is disgusting."
What, the show tonight?
Tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, that's why I moved.
I mean, I was just talking about, you know, how I was when in my youth, you know.
Yeah.
So get to the scallops. Come on, you started with the scallops. Let's hear about your scallops.
We heard about it Monday.
No, but he had scallops on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
The traditional scallop
good.
dinner on Thanksgiving.
Exactly. Who does?
They were fantastic.
Scallops and gravy.
Oh, crazy. and I get it from the scallop guy.
That's what the Italians call it.
Actually, in Connecticut, he lives there.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to Rhode Island and picks them up from the ocean there,
Mm-hmm.
brings them back, and he freezes them as he's put them together and packages them.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I was watching one of these food programs tonight. It's a food competition out of England called MasterChef The Professionals, and Marjorie loves that show. And this woman was put down because she didn't do well because her scallops weren't completely cooked.
Ooh.
How do you not? How do you not cook scallops completely? I mean,
You don't put them in hot water.
They cut down on the amount of time they have to prepare these things to create more drama. And, you know, she may not have gotten them on the fire earlier.
how long do you have to have scallops on a fire? I mean, what?
Not long.
5 minutes?
Not long.
And then
Very
maybe they're
short.
overdone.
They cook real quick.
Yeah. They're quick.
Minute on each side in a fry pan with some oil and garlic and basil, and you're done.
Yeah.
Get a
You
little
know what
color on 'em.
You know what they did to my crab? They fried it. They deep fried it in some sort of butter and oil. It was the worst. Initially, the crab was cold, so I said, I sent it back, and it comes back out about 3 minutes later, and you couldn't even touch the crab shells. They were so hot, and there was breading on it. I said, "What did you do? Fry this in the stuff that you fry French fries?" And they said, No, this is the way we make it. I said, I ate here twice before. I never remembered it like this. I said I couldn't touch it. I actually was burning my fingers.
Who's running
I
this
sent it
place
back,
now? Donald Trump?
Huh?
Nothing.
Yeah. So, Jeff, I'm jealous of your scallops because
You should come
crab
over.
was.
So what did
All
you
right,
do,
well, I'll
Alan?
come
What did
over,
you do for Thanksgiving? Alan?
Oh, sorry, I was talking over you.
You probably had Chinese.
No, yeah, right. No, we went and had Italian at Buca di Beppo. It's got to be the worst Italian food.
Ugh.
Why did you guys decide to go to places that had bad
nephew.
food? Huh?
My nephew, he's the smartest person in the family, brain-wise. He picks the worst restaurants.
What was the name of the
That's
place?
not hard in your family.
Buca de Beppo. Ugh.
Buca de Beppo. It's horrible.
Sounds like a certain fecal matter dropping in a toilet.
Yeah, absolutely. That would have been probably better.
It's that time of the year that you shouldn't be going to a restaurant. They're all at home. All the good chefs are at home.
But, you know, that might be the answer.
I don't think so.
I didn't come anywhere.
Well, I went to Costco today actually, and they had king crabs. Okay, in a huge box.
Well, they're big. King crabs are big.
Yeah.
And they had like 2 bags of it. $400.
Wow. And king crabs are hard to eat because you got to use scissors to cut the shells.
Yeah.
You know, they don't break like the dungeon.
Believe me, I'm not spending.
I'll tell you, what I wouldn't give for a good Dungeness crab right now. You know, you don't get them out here.
No.
You know?
Go to Phil's
they don't
house.
travel well. I think they do get out here, but by the time they get here, they're real mean. You know.
You see how much? Did you guys talk about how much they were right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pricey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, this was the $400.
Yeah.
That was a bargain.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Really would be $500.
I've seen them $15 a pound, and they're usually about 60 or $65 in the restaurants.
Yeah.
You know, down at Fisherman's Wharf, when they're having the season and they're really plentiful, they're only a few bucks a pound.
Yeah.
But you're talking about Dungeness crab.
Right.
You're not talking about king crab. Different.
No, I said king crab.
Well, does anybody remember when
but
in my show in San Francisco, I used to refer to a girlfriend I was going with at the time as the Fish Princess?
Oh, Lord. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she and her ex-husband owned a fish distribution company on Fisherman's Wharf. You know, and she used to get the freshest stuff. You know,
Yeah.
just the best. Wow. She'd go down there and pick up a Dungeness crab and bring it to my place, you know. Or a couple of them.
I wonder if they still have all those people going into Fisherman's Wharf now that Alioto's and all those other restaurants have closed.
Alioto's is Fisherman's Grotto number 9 still there?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Because that was my favorite, that one.
Yeah.
But I went to Alioto's once, and the food was terrible.
Yep.
It was just horrible. And the next day on the show, I had on my show one of my favorite politicians in San Francisco, Angela Alioto, whose family owned Alioto's.
Yeah.
And I said, I went to Alioto's yesterday for dinner. She says, how was it? I said, it was terrible.
Hey, you want me to tell you something right now? Joe Alioto's niece is in the other room talking to my wife.
Wow. Really?
I swear to God.
Well, Joe Alioto was Angela's father.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
They're friends.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, there used to be like DiMaggio's.
What are the chances of that we're sitting here talking about? You know, wait a minute. Weird. How did you get his background?
I don't know. It's just happened.
Ray.
Ray is good.
Yeah, Ray's got one of those Leica cameras. He just bought it down the street for $25.
I got a Nikon.
Yeah, he's a Nikon.
Wait a minute. You waited for Tony to go away and then you did a screen grab, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. But I had to match the colors and stuff. That took a little while.
You're very good at that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess you're
going to be doing that, Ray.
Yeah, it's it's a pastime.
Yeah. We should just put a bunch of Tony's backdrops on the website and let people download them. So when they're doing Ray
had downloaded Tony's old backdrop, and I sent it to everybody and said, "Let's surround Alex with Tony's backdrop." A few people did.
Here, you want to do mine?
It's still in the picture.
Yeah, as soon as I saw Tony leave, I said, "That's my chance." I had to be quick.
By the way, I did mention that just so people know if they're listening, Jack will not be doing a show tonight because he's got technical problems.
I thought he got a new computer downstairs that his wife
No, he
bought him.
moved the computer
Oh.
downstairs.
I
Yeah,
see.
it's not new. Yeah.
And then some kids, while he was in the hospital, went on the computer and started loading stuff into it and so on. And I think that may have had something to do with it, but it was 7 years old, too. So last night he had problems again, and I tried to upload, and it wouldn't connect to this thing, and I suddenly said, well, reboot the machine, and he turned the machine off, and when he turned it back on, all it would show was Lenovo, and it just stayed there, you know.
Can he do his show from his iPhone or something?
That's
mostly
a
audio
funny
and
joke.
Skype.
Him to have an iPhone. That's funny.
But yeah, I don't think Jack's got an iPhone.
Oh, he's got an iPhone. He's got a smartphone.
Not
Yeah.
not an iPhone, no.
Well, what's the difference? You know, but he can put Skype on it, and he could do the thing, and he can send the file.
Let's talk about OBS and the problems I'm having.
Uh-oh.
This is something, yeah, right. What we got? We got 37 people listening to us. Let's see if we can get it down to 30 by talking about OBS. Nobody knows what we're talking about. What's your problem with OBS? OBS is what I use. It's called, stands for OBS.
Because I did a podcast video and I was trying to do an intro and it like froze in the middle. I can't fix it. I got to start over. It happened twice and now I can't get it to work right at all.
Could be you
What,
don't
you
have
got Jack's computer?
Do you have a powerful enough computer?
Maybe not. It is like 7 or 8 years old.
OBS is what we use on this program, folks, to switch things and so on and so forth.
It usually works. It's probably just too old. I need a new computer.
Yeah. But, I mean, OBS is a great little it's a free program.
I know.
And it allows us to switch these programs and to do all the videos and stuff that I play and so on, you know.
I think my
like
computer's
OPM.
just too weak.
I like OPM. Other people's
OPM?
Oh, okay.
Hey, Phil, are you getting a meniscus surgery?
I don't know. I haven't talked to the doctor yet. I don't know how bad it is.
Because I had one and my knee was still completely screwed up after. I'm glad I had it because I'm not all swollen all the time, but I'm gonna have to get a knee replacement on that knee.
Yep.
Just FYI.
I'm going to put it off as long as possible because
That's what I did.
What I read is that I'll be down for the count for several weeks.
Yeah.
Which means that I'll have problems at the store if I'm not there because I'm lacking employees.
You can probably get over that if you just take it easy and maybe wear a knee brace or something on there.
The thing is, though, meniscus tears don't get better. They don't. They can't.
Mine
heal.
I don't have it anymore.
Mine healed.
Yours might not have been completely torn.
Yeah, if it's totally torn and it can't. But if it's just partial, I think it can heal.
I was
but
told it was torn and that it may go away and may not. Mine did.
I see.
Mine but I was very careful with it. You know, I didn't put any pressure on that leg. You know, in fact, I even was if I had to get down on the floor to do something or go down too low to go to a cabinet or something, I wouldn't do it for about a year. So, but
I was waiting for it to happen again every time I got in the shower. I got nervous because when I got out, I heard a loud pop, and that was it.
Yeah.
I was back playing softball in a month and a half.
And you had the surgery.
Yeah, I had the surgery. Yeah.
I guess it just depends,
Well,
you have Kaiser, don't you, Phil? They won't.
Yeah, but you see, what they're saying is if I work on my quads and hamstrings, that'll strengthen the knee, and I have been.
It might.
Yeah.
What made it? Wait a minute. Let's go back a little bit. What made it? What made your meniscus tear? What action did it?
I
was just walking.
No,
and it just popped, like Phil said.
Yeah, if you twist it and you go in the wrong angle, you can tear it.
Yeah, well,
and I think I had torn it years ago, and I think it's just worse now.
My knee lately has been bothering me a little bit when I walk, so I don't walk.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, well, I'm losing weight, and I haven't felt this good in years, and I'm not going to stop exercising.
Yeah. Well, have fun.
Yeah.
Well, I would recommend, Phil, that if you can, get a physical therapist.
Well, I have a personal trainer, and
That's not a physical
this guy
therapist.
is really
Not a
good.
physical therapist.
That's not a
He's,
physical therapist.
Well, he's making sure I don't do too much to my knee, and changing up the exercise.
This is the guy that started all your problems anyhow.
No, I'm sure I had this problem long before. Hey, look,
I love this show, folks. Thank you for joining us and listening to everybody complain about their health.
When I was younger, I installed wall-to-wall carpet. There's no
hey, that's
worse
interesting
job
too.
for your
Let's
knee.
talk about installing wall-to-wall carpet.
Can we switch to colonoscopies, please?
Yeah, really.
By the way, I had a friend before you who had a carpet business.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe it was you.
Yeah.
And you had this little device that when you put in carpets, you had to hit it with your knee.
Right, the kicker.
Is that what it's called, a kicker?
Yeah, I think I fixed something in the living room in your Sausalito apartment. You needed me to either put a wire under the carpet or something. I did something for you there.
But those things, I saw somebody came into my apartment once. I think it was in New York or something, where I got some wall-to-wall carpet, and they put the thing in there just doing this jamming deal. What's it called? A kicker, huh?
Knee kicker, yeah.
A knee kicker.
Yeah, although I used to kick with my right knee, and it's my left knee that's got the problem, but maybe it's because I would lean on my left knee and then kick with the right.
Did people, after a while, get knee problems from doing that?
Yeah, the carpet installers get water on the knee.
Really? Now, have they replaced that piece of archaic technology with some kind of new technology?
Yeah, they have something called a power stretcher, and you only use the knee kicker for placement, not for stretching anymore.
So you don't have to.
Are you sure that your meniscus is due to all this and not just due to old age?
Well, it could be. I sent you the.
Yeah, I know. I saw it. I'll look at it at the end of the show, the radiologist report.
Yeah.
So nothing wrong with my left knee.
Well,
it's the same age.
All I had was an X-ray. And
I had an X-ray at first, and then they said that it was arthritis, and so I said, "Nah, this thing still hurts," and so they allowed an MRI. Yeah. And that's when I got the report.
You got to get a better doctor. I didn't have the X-ray. They took me directly to have an MRI.
Yeah.
I've talked to you since, Kevin, because we do a thing just personally on the weekends. But I asked you this, but what'd you do? Tell them what you did for Thanksgiving.
Was that me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we went to the coast.
We
took a trip to the coast and took the trailers out there and parked on the coast, and then the king tide came up and we got booted out.
Oh, really?
What part of the coast were you on?
Picked up some king crab for Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. We probably could have done it. No, we were over at Seacliff State Beach. It's right on the beach.
Oh, is that up in like Sonoma?
No, Aptos.
Oh.
We parked right on the beach.
Yeah.
And it takes like 6 or 8 months to get the place, and my kid got it for us about 6 or 8 months ago, and so we went down there. We were going to spend Wednesday through Sunday there, and we had Thanksgiving on the beach, and then come Thanksgiving afternoon they said we may have to evacuate on Friday, and I thought, yeah, whatever. But the waves started breaking really bad on Friday night or Thursday night. Was it Friday night, Thursday night?
Kevin, do you think these high tides were due to the volcano in Hawaii?
No. It was there was a storm up north up around Oregon, and they said the surge from that. I mean, it was really interesting to see the ocean change like that overnight.
Wow.
We went to bed and the waves were breaking about 50, 60 yards off the beach, and it was beautiful. I mean, the weather was beautiful. There was no wind, nothing. And it was breaking, 50, 60 yards off the beach. And we literally parked 15 feet away from the beach, the sand where it starts. And by the time we had had dinner, and I started a fire, and I was kicking back, and the waves started getting a little louder and a little closer.
Oh, God.
And, I had a little sip of tequila, and they got a little closer and a little louder. And then we went to bed, and by midnight, the trailer was shaking.
Wow.
I mean, these things were cracking. Probably when I went outside, they were cracking 15 feet high, and they were getting like within 40 yards, maybe.
Wow.
So you got
Doesn't it take time to break those trailers down, and you level them, and you do all sorts of stuff?
Oh yeah, you can do it pretty damn quick when you have to.
Yeah.
Where was this? Where was this, Kevin?
At Aptos, at Sunset or Seacliff State Beach, right there off of State Cliff driving 1.
Yeah.
Well, that would have
They
been a
can have
real
some
nice
good-
Thanksgiving if it hadn't been for that.
Well, we had Thanksgiving dinner,
Yeah.
and everything was
So
nice.
what
on
did
the
you
beach.
have for Thanksgiving dinner? Now, Jeff, who lives in Connecticut, had scallops. Okay. Now you're at the beach. What did you have?
We had steaks, and I brought a breast of turkey.
See,
And I had
Jeff,
to have something turkey, and I cooked it in the frickin' oven in the RV. And I was the only one that really ate it, but they spread around
But you
some New York
see,
steaks.
he was at the water and he didn't have scallops. Okay?
And I brought some gravy, and I threw gravy on top of it, and I mashed up some baked potato to make it mashed potatoes.
See? That's the way you spend Thanksgiving.
You could have thrown some sand in and had sand dabs.
How
too.
about you, Ray? What did you do for Thanksgiving?
I went to Novato, where my
Ooh.
aunt and uncle live, and spent it with them. But my wife and other sons stayed home because my wife had foot surgery.
Did you have turkey?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Turkey and the stuffing and the pumpkin pie and the cranberry sauce.
No,
Ooh,
I know what Charlie had, because on Monday we asked this question of the Monday audience, and he came up with his answer. Tell him, Tony, what did you have for Thanksgiving?
Dog food.
So we had turkey, and she made a ham.
Alpo.
No, what did you have? What did you have, Charlie? Charlie, not
Pizza.
Tony.
I had ham and sausage, pizza, and beer.
That is the traditional
Very good.
Thanksgiving meal.
That's
That's right.
That's a
I gave-
Texas Thanksgiving meal.
I gave all the guys that work for me those spiral hams from Honey Baked. I didn't even get one for myself. I gave it to the installers. I gave one, the warehousemen, my office guys, and I guess they were appreciative. But Alex,
No,
now
they
you
still
got-
say nasty things about you behind your back.
they're all
Don't worry.
Alex, you got stuff delivered. What was the end result of your Thanksgiving dinner?
Oh, the end. We turned as soon as it came. We told them we don't want it. What happened was they were supposed to get it to us on Tuesday, and finally they said, "Well, you can get it to you on Thursday." Because they
And it was half
canceled it.
cooked, right?
Yeah, but we already went out and bought a turkey at Whole
What did
Foods
you do for the rest of the stuff?
to be on the safe side, and she turned the turkey away.
Huh.
So you told them to stuff their turkey, huh?
Basically, yeah. This what's the company called?
half-
Fresh
half
Direct. Fresh Direct. And
Fresh Direct.
what I didn't like was their attitude, because I mean, let's face it, you're having people over for Thanksgiving. You're going to tell somebody we might be able to get it to you by 2:00 in the afternoon on Thursday.
No.
Come on.
And you said it would take several hours to cook the turkey.
Yeah, sure.
It wouldn't
sure.
be done.
Sure, but
Yeah.
anyway, it did come at 10 in the morning, but Marjorie turned it away. I wish she hadn't, because the turkey we did do from Whole Foods wasn't that terrific. It had lived a tough life. When I tried to carve it, it tried to carve me back,
It's a New York turkey.
I've gotten a turkey from Whole Foods once, and it was tough as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
You would think it would have been a good one.
Well, I guess it's one of those, politically correct turkeys. I don't know.
I don't know. Amazon owns Whole Food.
Yeah. But anyway, so
This
I
was
mean,
way before
but she
that.
went and got
Oh,
this
yeah.
turkey because she wanted to make sure that we had a turkey. And then she turned this other one away, which I wouldn't have done probably, but she did. So, but it was, we had a nice Thanksgiving. And then also I forgot to ask Tony, what did you do for Thanksgiving?
I went to my sister's, which is right around the corner. She made turkey, ham, and I made sides to bring over.
Yeah. What sides did you make?
I made
Ma'am.
string beans and
Kraft
mashed potatoes.
macaroni and cheese. What else?
I did string beans and potatoes. I did a mashed potatoes with also the mashed potatoes with the cheese on top, and I did sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes. I hate sweet potatoes.
Potatoes.
I like 'em, I put
Love
marshmallows on
I
too.
hate sweet potatoes.
Oh, I love them.
They
I
make me.
don't like
Yeah,
the
good.
market.
If I eat a sweet potato, I throw up.
Even what about sweet potato fries?
I can do that.
Maybe
Yeah.
Isn't that strange?
No, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Hey, it was something I had meant to ask you in the first half hour. I know we're talking Thanksgiving and food. It's getting a little old. Has anyone watched the first 3 episodes of Tulsa King?
Yeah.
No.
I liked it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
With Sylvester Stallone. What is Dana Delaney? What part is she playing? I can't recognize her. I know that she was a heartthrob in the 70s in some TV series. Was it MASH?
I don't.
Yeah, it was MASH.
MASH?
I don't know which
Part
person
she is?
No.
Yeah, because she's not the FBI or the ATF agent, so I'm not sure who she is.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a good show on Hulu. Started watching about Chippendales.
Yes,
Chippendales
that's
thing.
very good.
It is, isn't it?
It's really good.
It's really
Oh,
good.
okay.
It's
Yeah, I'm
really
gonna be
It's
a
not what I
Chippendales
thought it
fan.
would be. It's not really about a bunch of hunks dancing and about their lives and things like that. This is about the actual intrigue that went on in creating this club.
Yeah, and they're not actually changing much. It was pretty dramatic and nasty shit.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I looked
about
it up. It's pretty accurate.
Weren't Chippendales men?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but it's about the guy who started it.
Oh,
and it's more about the
Yeah.
backstage story of this thing, and
Yeah.
it's really it's very good.
Yeah,
It's
it's really
another
good.
FX show. They're like the FX does great stuff.
And it's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's an FX show. That's why they
I
have those
think-
commercial blackouts.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
there are commercials unless you get it like I do, commercial free.
Yeah, me too.
You know.
But it has those like blackouts.
By the way, I
those
didn't tell you
commercial
guys. Well, it's almost time to go. I cut the cord.
Oh, you did?
congratulations.
Yay.
Congratulations.
You won't miss it. I cut it years ago.
I do miss the cable.
Yeah.
You know why?
You'll get used to it.
You know why? Because every one of those devices had a clock on it, and I knew what time it was by looking at it. And now when I look for that time I can't find it, and then I have to look somewhere else. So,
Put a
yeah.
screensaver on your computer with the time.
Well,
Did you get Hulu TV or Yahoo TV instead or something?
I
Like
got Hulu. Yeah,
Oh, okay. I was
because you
thinking
get
about doing
you get the Disney
Okay, I'm gonna
thing
do that.
where you get the Disney bundle with it.
I got the YouTube TV, but with the Paramount Plus, isn't there a bundle that comes with that? Or is
No,
that a-
you can get Showtime, which I did.
Oh.
I got Showtime when I canceled my cable, and it's only cheaper than normally paying for Showtime. So, anyway, that's it. Glad you all had a good Thanksgiving, and thank you all for being here. Thanks to Phil, of course, for starting off the show. And then the lovely and attractive Jeff, who ate scallops for Thanksgiving. And it's scallops and yams, right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
right.
Oh, it
And
sounds great.
and Alan, thank you so much. Also, Charlie, thank you. Thank you, Tony. Thanks to Ray, and thanks to Kevin. And by the way, there is no Jack Bishop tonight, folks.
Did Warren G. Harding die of food poisoning from scallops?
I think it was eating at the Dead Fish Company.
Yeah, no, it was in San Francisco at the Sheraton Palace, I think. But
No,
I
he
think
came back
And that
from
was Fatty
Alaska.
Arbuckle.
Alaska, and he was at the Palace Hotel. He got sick when he got back from Alaska, and he died at the Palace Hotel.
Right.
Okay.
Which has a wonderful buffet, by the way.
Yes.
After eating crab.
Yeah. Everybody, give a big wave goodbye. I'll give a big wave goodbye at you. Okay. There they go, folks. That's our citizen panel for tonight. Jack Bishop not here tonight. Got computer problems, but you know, you can figure out something to do without Jack. Anyway, I'll see you again tomorrow. Same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody.